Here's something most people won't tell you. Most women will retire with less than half of what men retire with. Not because they worked less hard. Not because they weren't careful with money. But because, honestly, the financial system was never built with women's reality in mind. I went through the actual numbers on this. The wage gap, the career breaks, the fact that women simply live longer. And what I found changed how I look at every financial decision I make. So if you've ever looked at your savings account and thought, I'm doing okay, but I feel like I should have more by now, stay with me because this one's for you. Think about a woman you know. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's you. She's in her 30s, educated, working hard. She's contributing to her retirement account, being careful with spending. By most standards, she's doing everything right. But here's the thing most women in that position never hear. Doing the right things isn't always enough. Not when the financial system wasn't built to account for your reality as a woman. The average woman who retires at 67 ends up with a monthly income that falls well short of what even a modest retirement actually costs. Before healthcare, before emergencies, before anything unexpected. She didn't do anything wrong. She did exactly what she was told to do. And that is exactly the problem. There are 3 invisible forces quietly draining women's retirement. And almost nobody talks about all 3 together. The first is the compounding wage gap. We talk about the wage gap in terms of what women earn today. But the real damage is what it does over time. Every dollar you don't earn is a dollar that never gets invested. And every dollar that never gets invested is years of compound growth that quietly disappears. The wage gap doesn't just cost you income. It costs you the future version of that income multiplied over decades. The second force is the career break penalty. Taking time away from work, for maternity leave, for caregiving, for any of the reasons women step back, doesn't just pause your paycheck. It pauses your contributions. And it removes years of compounding that can never fully be recovered. 1 year out of the workforce in your mid-30s can cost you tens of thousands in retirement savings by age 67. Not because you made the wrong call, but because the system was never designed to accommodate that reality. The third force is the longevity gap. Women live on average 5 to 6 years longer than men. And I know that sounds like good news. Financially, it's one of the most underestimated risks women face. Your savings have to stretch further. Your healthcare costs climb significantly in the final years of life. And statistically, many women will manage their own finances alone for some portion of late life. Often for the very first time. The standard retirement calculator doesn't account for any of this. So when it tells you you're on track, you may not be. Not really. And underneath all of this is something most women were quietly taught growing up. That wanting financial security, just for yourself, is somehow selfish. So we wait. We put everyone else's needs first. We tell ourselves we'll get serious about it once we understand it a little better. And in the meantime, the gap just keeps widening. Here's what actually changes things. And it's almost never what people expect. It's not a dramatic overhaul. It's not some complicated strategy. It's usually one decision, made earlier than feels necessary, and held to more consistently than feels comfortable. Women who build real financial security don't always earn more. They don't always start with an advantage. What they do differently is change the way they think about money entirely. Most women ask, can I afford this? Financially secure women ask, what is this costing me in future freedom? It's a subtle shift, but it rewires everything. Every spending decision becomes a conversation between who you are today and who you're trying to become. And your future self, it turns out, has a vote. The second shift is what I call the automation rule. Financially secure women don't invest what's left over at the end of the month. They automate the transfer the day after payday. Before life has a chance to spend it first. Investing becomes non-negotiable like rent. Not, if I have a little extra this month. Just, it goes. Every time. This isn't about discipline. It's about removing the decision entirely. Because the decision, if left open, will always find a reason to wait. I think about the women who come to this realization later than they'd like. Newly divorced, or suddenly single, or just waking up one day to the fact that they've been leaving their financial future to chance. Not because they were irresponsible, but because starting just felt enormous. The ones who move forward don't wait until they feel ready. They take one small step on one ordinary evening. Open an account, set up a transfer, make a plan, and they start from there. They don't become financial experts overnight. They just become someone who isn't afraid of it anymore. That's the shift. Not mastery, just momentum. Before you go, I want to leave you with one thing. Building financial security for yourself is not selfish. It is the opposite. A woman who is financially dependent on a partner and employer on things staying stable doesn't have freedom. She has the appearance of stability, which is a very different thing. Financial independence is what lets you show up for the people you love, without resentment, without fear, from a place of real choice. You are allowed to want that for yourself. The number you actually need to retire is probably larger than what you've been told, and that can feel heavy. Let it feel heavy for a moment. And then, when you're ready, not perfectly ready, just ready enough, take the smallest possible next step. Not the full plan, just the next one. If this clicked something into place for you, I'd love to have you here for the next one.